This is the most powerful building in the world, located in the United States. It is known as the Pentagon. The Pentagon serves as the headquarters of the U.S. Department of Defense, which oversees all branches of the U.S. military: the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marine Corps, and Coast Guard. Originally, this department was called the War Department when it was first established in 1789. Over time, it expanded to 24,000 employees operating across 17 buildings in Washington, D.C. by 1942. During World War II, when Hitler and his forces were advancing through Europe, the U.S. Congress and then-President Franklin D. Roosevelt realized there was a critical need to unify the armed forces under a single headquarters. The total floor space of the building, also nicknamed the Puzzle Palace, exceeds 6.5 million square feet, 3 times the size of the Empire State Building, making it the second largest office building in the world. So in this video, we're going to take a closer look at the most powerful building on Earth. Keep watching. The Pentagon was designed by an American architect named George Bergstrom and constructed by contractor John McShane. The original site at Arlington Farms, Virginia, where the Pentagon was supposed to be built, was surrounded by roads on 5 sides. However, President Franklin D. Roosevelt ordered the location to be moved to where it is today, while maintaining the same 5-sided design. The Pentagon is 5 stories tall with 2 underground levels, and it consists of 5 concentric rings labeled from A to E, separated by 10 corridors. Due to steel shortages during the war, the building was kept low-rise and designed in a way that wouldn't obstruct views in Washington, D.C. Its shape also resembles ancient fortresses and several forts from the American Civil War era. The Pentagon serves 3 purposes in one: as a military building, the largest institution in the U.S., and a symbol of power. At the time of its construction between late 1941 and January 1943, President Roosevelt's administration and the public believed that the building was only a temporary response to the ongoing World War and would no longer be needed once peace returned. But the post-World War II global landscape was far from peaceful. Geopolitical tensions rose rapidly with the emergence of 2 superpowers, the Soviet Union and the United States, leading to a prolonged threat to U.S. and Allied security. At the peak of World War II, the Pentagon provided office space for more than 33,000 employees. There was strong pressure to maintain a large military force after the war, numbering around 2.5 million personnel, both men and women, between 1945 and 1990, or nearly 8 times more than before 1940. This required a much larger and more complete military structure in Washington, where the Pentagon became an icon, especially with the establishment of the National Military Establishment in 1947, which was later renamed the Department of Defense, DoD, in 1949. Today, the Pentagon functions as the operations center of the U.S. military, with about 23,000 employees entering and exiting each day. It houses the Office of the Secretary of Defense, the Joint Chiefs of Staff, and the highest-ranking officers of the Army, Navy, Marine Corps, and Air Force. The Pentagon has been a crucial part of U.S. military history, especially during major conflicts like World War II and the Cold War. The Pentagon Force Protection Agency, PFPA, is responsible for defending the building from chemical, biological, radiological, and nuclear attacks. Everyone entering the building must pass through strict security screening, and video or photo recordings are strictly prohibited to preserve confidentiality. During the Cold War, a hot dog stand located in the central courtyard was nicknamed Café Ground Zero because Soviet intelligence believed it connected to a secret underground bunker, making it a prime target if nuclear war were to erupt. The Pentagon underwent major renovations starting in 1993. The windows along the Wedge 1 section were made from 1.5-inch thick blast-resistant material. When American Airlines Flight 77 struck the Pentagon on September 11th, killing 125 people inside, these windows helped save thousands of others. Kevlar panels between the windows also prevented debris from causing more casualties. In December 2001, the Pentagon Transit Center, a USD $36 million project, was opened to prevent public vehicles from coming as close as just 10 feet from the building, as they could previously. In 2002, the Pentagon police unit known as the Defense Protective Service, DPS, was replaced by the Pentagon Force Protection Agency. This new unit's mission expanded to include readiness, detection, prevention, and counterterrorism, especially in the face of weapons of mass destruction. To counter serious threats, the Pentagon Security Agency operates a special unit called Cobra, similar to a highly trained SWAT team. The Pentagon also houses specialist teams capable of handling chemical, biological, radiological, and nuclear incidents. The National Military Command Center, NMCC, at the Pentagon is responsible for delivering emergency action messages to various military assets, including nuclear command centers and submarines. Absurd and wasteful Pentagon projects. When it comes to wasting billions of taxpayer dollars, the Pentagon's military departments have been involved in several bizarre and senseless projects. First, during World War II, an officer from the Office of Strategic Services proposed strapping bombs to cats and dropping them into the ocean near enemy warships, assuming that cats, afraid of water, would swim toward the ships. But during testing, the cats passed out midair and sank with the bombs, disappearing without a trace. Second, between 1956 and 1971, the U.S. military produced about 2,100 Davy Crockett's, tactical weapons with a 0.01 kiloton nuclear warhead intended for battlefield use during the Cold War. The problem was that these weapons had a firing range of only 2.5 miles, meaning soldiers operating them would be exposed to lethal radiation. Pentagon propaganda videos merely advised soldiers to jump into nearby trenches to avoid the blast. Third, after World War II, the U.S. military experimented with developing miniature helicopters for rapid frontline deployment. Unfortunately, what the soldiers got was the Delackner HZ-1 Aerocycle, introduced in 1954, a flying platform with 4 spinning blades underneath, requiring soldiers to stand on top. It was extremely dangerous. Fourth, in 2009, DARPA, the Pentagon's secret research arm, introduced a lightning gun that could destroy enemy bombs with high-voltage electric shock. The prototype they managed to build had a range of only 15 meters, making it impractical. Still, the project continued and now focuses on developing a Thor-like weapon that can redirect lightning to incinerate enemy infrastructure. Fifth, the U.S. Navy spent $37 billion developing the Littoral Combat Ship to patrol shallow waters and combat pirates and drug traffickers. But the ship earned the nickname Little Crappy Ship from Navy personnel because it wasn't battle-ready. Its thin hull meant that the $440 million vessel could be destroyed by a single enemy missile. The Pentagon's own testing concluded that the ship wouldn't survive real naval combat, and its weapons and communication systems were deemed failures. Sixth, the Pentagon admitted to running a secret UFO investigation program for 5 years, costing over $20 million until it was shut down in 2012. The X-Files style operation was managed by military intelligence officer Luis Elizondo on the 5th floor, Section C of the Pentagon. In recent developments, Elon Musk and his team at the newly formed Department of Government Efficiency, established on January 20th, 2025 by the Trump administration, have been tasked with auditing the Pentagon's spending to identify potential waste and fraud. The U.S. Department of Defense, DoD, headquartered at the Pentagon, is the largest government department, with an annual budget exceeding $800 billion.